about to get underway here, and it's going to be Plymouth kicking from left to right towards the Alan Kelly town end, and in their traditional green and white strip, and it's Hales with Ebanks-Blake taking the centre kick, and it's straight away down by the corner flag for a throw in to Preston North End. Man to take it, Matt Hill. 18 starts to his name this season. Just a minor blip after picking up that injury. It's on the back with Marcel Seip playing the ball forward, headed away, chested down by Pugh. And in the end it was Pugh's chest that took it out of play, following a foot in from Mathias Doumbe. Doumbe it is with the throw, and he is playing in that right back position, deputising after 2 injuries for Plymouth. And it's back with Seip playing it back to Luke McCormick, making his 100th appearance for the visitors this afternoon. There's McKenna knocking the ball on, Nugent returning from an offside position, but he's got hold of the ball now in front of him. Ormerod trying to keep control, but it's out of play for a throw-in. Just waiting for the ball really to get a bit of flow and get the ball on the floor and see some passes. At the moment it's been a bit stop-start in the first minute or two. There's the throw-in down the line. Hill clear shove in the back from Hales. Referee Kevin Friend right on top of that one. And Hill will take the resulting free kick, which is just inside Plymouth territory on the left side of the field as we look at it, down by the touchline. He's going to launch this one forward left-footed. It's a diagonal high ball towards the edge of the area, flicked across it, and St Ledger's the man who's over that, can't get to it, and it's cleared away out of play for a throw-in for Preston North End.
Let's hope this is not going to be the sort of ebb and flow of the game so far, because it's been a pretty poor start, very quiet, very strange. You know, there's obviously not a lot of passing runs. We've seen 2 passes stuck together, so let's hope things can improve here. It's
yeah, not very atmospheric at the moment, and play perhaps not inducing good noise from the Preston crowd. Let's hope that's just a quiet start and it slowly builds. Down that right hand side, Preston have possession. Chip ball forward, Nugent racing after it. He's got Ormerod inside in the area. If he can pull it between the defenders' legs, which he has done, although he does eventually lose possession. And it's Alexander gets a foot in, gets the ball back. He has to retreat back towards his own half, where he'll find Liam Chilvers. Chilvers now we're seeing play open up a little bit with a diagonal ball down the left hand side. Pugh knocks the ball into the centre. It was a hopeful ball really ahead of Nugent and in towards McCormick, but we've seen there a little bit of play from the back. It's not too often you get a centre-back who's as comfortable playing those kind of diagonal passes as Chilvers.
No, he's fantastic. I think that's his biggest attribute. You know, he can actually spread the ball about fantastic, left and right as well. You know,
we're putting a bit of pressure on here on the defender, and it's just knocked into touch. And that was the attitude that we were saying about Ormerod pre-game, that he really doesn't stop, and he had no right to really win Preston a throw in there.
Throwing for Preston a good area again, just closing down. You know, just that simple work rate, you know, just gets you things higher up in the park, nearer the goal mouth.
Back to Chilvers again, and this time he spreads a good pass down the right hand side, which opens up Plymouth. Whaley though can't keep the ball in play, and I have to say, in some very brightly coloured yellow boots on that far side. Are those a new addition?
They're absolutely shocking.
You won't get any disagreement from me there. Maybe it's because we've got the yellow ball now.
My mates saw me in boots like that, they would knock me out.
Fashionably challenged is Simon Whaley on the far side. Long ball forward, which Hales manages to get underneath. Good foot in from Sedgwick. He plays the ball down that right flank. Racing after it, Nugent. Bit of shoving going on there, and the assistant referee did raise his flag. The arms were raised by Nugent as he battled to try and win that ball on the far side. And he's just giving the assistant referee his thoughts on the situation. It's probably the kind of thing that's earned him those 5 yellow cards this season.
I think a few of them are for dissent. You know, I think he's just a little bit frustrated this year, David. You know, obviously hasn't scored as many goals as he'd like. I think he is just a little bit fishy. You can tell in front of goal. Maybe he snatches his chances a little bit too much. But he's only, people forget, he's only a young lad. He will learn. I think the more he can relax and we can help him relax, then the more goals he get off David.
The good thing is that he's got that attitude of frustration when he's not scoring enough. He's hungry for more goals, isn't he? Free kick for Plymouth, and they're going to launch this one in towards the area. In fact, they take it quickly and it's chipped in. Hales goes up for it, but he can't win the header, and it's nodded away. But Plymouth do pick up the ball cheaply and knock it down this right side, where Doumbe gives the ball away with a good foot in from Danny Pugh to dispossess him. He battles to try and win the ball back. Pugh takes a tumble, went down a little lightly, but he wins himself a free kick. Certainly tactically wise there, Pugh, as he went to ground to win the ball. I don't think he was really going anywhere with it, and it's going to be McKenna who's going to swing this in. Chipped in towards the centre. It's quite McCormick territory, and it's not cleared away convincingly yet. Sedgwick hooks it over his shoulder. There's control on the far side and laid off for Hill. McKenna has it now, looking to build. Right-footed curling ball in towards the centre. Chilvers can't quite get there, but he did enough to knock it along the edge of the area. Now Plymouth have a break on down that left-hand side, and into the centre comes Ebanks-Blake. He's past one, and will he get a chance to shoot here? He does. It's charged down and afforded far too much time. It comes back out to Hale. Under pressure, he loses possession, and Preston can clear their ranks. But just sat back a little bit, the defence there on that break, and didn't really close him down, Ebanks-Blake, and he took full advantage. And they're coming forward again here now, Plymouth. Ball in from Hales towards the edge of the area. Still Preston struggling to get hold of the ball and clear it away, and there's the experienced head of McKenna to do just that, lay the ball off down the right-hand side and give Alexander the opportunity to knock the ball down the line. He's found David Nugent, who's trying to hold it up, and we're seeing the game just come to life a little bit here, a bit more energy about it, and it's starting to stretch out at either side. But Callum Davidson sat alongside me. You saw Preston retreat rather quickly into their own half there on that break from Plymouth. They really need to make sure they're closing their men down. I'll come back to him in a second, as this looks like a long shot from Barry Hales, but it's drilled wide. Carlo Nash watching that one go off just past his far post rather comfortably, but it really didn't look particularly convincing, that piece of defending by Preston. They did let Plymouth really run at them there. Yeah,
definitely. I think they had sort of slight counter-attack. I think the only thing you could probably do was sort of retreat into the middle of the park, but I noticed there, obviously in the second and third phase play, actually our back four just stayed in the 18-yard box when the ball went back that way. I think it's important that it happened a couple of times this season. We've actually got to squeeze out. If the ball goes back, we squeeze out and make their forwards work and move. And basically sometimes we're just inviting pressure onto ourselves too much.
What else you can't keep happy, by the way?
What's that?
You know, I hear the PA announcer shouting. Ball down the right-hand side, and it's Ormerod holding it up. He's got Sedgwick turning, lays it down the right, and there's Simon Whaley cutting in from the touchline in his fantastic yellow boots. Back to Alexander, touches it out wide. Good building play this from Preston North End. Two men in the centre as the cross towards that far post actually was taken behind. Was it by the keeper? No. The assistant referee said it was out of play, and that's going to be a goal kick, but it looked to me as though he carried that over the line.
Good area, got into a great area. Brett got into a great area. Good ball by Simon, I think it was. He got into a good area. Disappointed with his cross there. He had 3 or 4 guys in the middle of the park to pick out. I think he's actually just shanked his cross.
Well, goal kick taken. Sedgwick's on the ball and lays it off for the first touch towards Simon Whaley. Lays it down the line towards the edge of the area, and there's Luke McCormick, who's clearance away not convincing, and gives Preston a throw in the final third of the pitch on that right hand side as they come forward, attacking Bill Shankly Cop way to our left. It's towards the edge of the area, and Ormerod turning again's done well. His cross is charged down, and that's the first corner of the game for Preston North End, which Pugh will jog over and take. In the meantime, the big guns come forward in Chilvers and St Ledger, looking to get on the end of this. Not seeing too many headed goals from the centre-backs this season. Perhaps this afternoon is set up for one of them. We shall see. Set piece about to be swung in, and they're loitering with intent on the edge of the area. St Ledger and Chilvers making a run. It's a deep, high ball into the centre, which Chilvers actually manages to head down. And Plymouth come right down the right-hand side as instructions are barked from my left-hand side. It's Plymouth nodding the ball forward. It's Alexander who's out of position for the time being, but making a good clearance down the left, which turns into a good ball for Nugent to chase after. It is cleared away by Seip in the end. And Hill charging in has fouled the Plymouth midfielder, although the assistant referee gave the throw in. And Mr. Friend thought otherwise, and so did Callum Davidson, I think.
Yeah, I thought it was a strange one. I saw the linesman give the throw into Preston. Matty just ran into it, and didn't even run into him, he just fell over because the ball's going to play. Bad decision. This is the.
He's only had 5 minutes of a game so far. Ball towards the edge of the area, it's headed down, and over goes Carlo Nash to collect. But this is what we're talking about when it's about non-contact sport nowadays, isn't it? Football, and it's, I don't know, it's for a traditionalist, it's very frustrating at times to watch. We've seen a lot of diving as well coming into the game. Did you see the Chelsea-Arsenal incident?
Yeah, it's actually, I thought it was probably one of the most comical things I've seen in football. The two of them, two big 6'4" goalkeeper and a centre forward, and they're falling over like that. So I was actually embarrassed for the two of them, and I think something should be done about it. Because I think they should be punished for doing that, and I think if it's a blatant dive, I think there was the Tottenham, I can't remember who the Tottenham guy got the penalty off Mendes against Portsmouth. There was nowhere near, you're talking at least a foot. I think these kind of guys, they should get punished for it. If it's going to be 50-50 and it's a little bit difficult, then obviously you can't punish them, but to really stop out the blatant diving, I think you've got to punish players.
Flicks on header, finds Ormerod on the edge of the area, laid it off, there's Pugh's left foot. Oh, what a tremendous finish that is! Acrobatics afterwards, and deserving of them. Danny Pugh smashes in a fantastic effort, and Preston take the lead. Callum Davidson, what a goal that was!
Oh, fantastic. It's on the half volley from about 20 yards out. A good layoff, I think it was from David Nugent or Brett. And he just smashed it in the top corner. What a goal. To be honest with the game, sort of needed something like this to get it going. Let's hopefully we can carry on this sort of goal scoring form.
Absolute superb finish from distance as well. 11 minutes in, and Preston have the lead. And it's Pugh, who probably won't score a better goal all season. That was superb, his fourth of the season. And set up well, Ormerod winning the ball on the edge and laying it off, and he met it sweetly. And Luke McCormick, well, couldn't get anywhere near it. Superb finish. You won't see a better goal this afternoon. Preston pressuring to try and win the ball again. It comes back to Alexander, who knocks the ball high into the air. Well, the bar's been set now, hasn't it? Try and beat that. Throw in down the left-hand side for Plymouth Argyle. And just getting back to that diving incident in the Premiership, it was pure panto, wasn't it? And it is panto season, so maybe they're angling for a part of the local Cinderella production. I don't know, but there you go. Ball forward over the top.
But that was Drogba's always the first one. If he gets kicked, he's always the first one. The referee try to get somebody book, or he's always there. And except he can't handle it when the punishment is given to him, or it's given out treated to him. That's what annoys me. Just accept it, move on. Don't get involved with the rest of the play. And I think
Pugh's just scythed down there on the right-hand side, and Mr. Friend's going to have a word here with David Norris, who just slid in rather over-enthusiastically. Pugh did manage to hurdle the challenge, but still that was actually quite a difficult and dangerous challenge, and at that point you would have thought the referee would go over to Norris and say, come on, calm it down a little.
Yeah, I think he actually did. I think he just said, just calm down a little bit. Obviously the team 1-0 down, in a position where if he robbed him he was through in goal, so it's one of these ones you sort of got to go for. The referee sort of made the right decision, I think.
Put it away, and there's Hales, who miscommunicated with Ebanks-Blake there, but Plymouth have it back with Blake now, and he's found the foot of Norris, who pulls it back to Doumbe, plays it in towards the centre and gets it back down this right flank. There's the low drilled cross into the centre, good header away by Chilvers, and now Simon Whaley can break with Sedgwick, and back to Whaley down the right hand side. They bring it over the halfway line, and Preston looking to exploit on the break. Good low ball through the centre, looking for the run of McKenna. Nugent had misread as he checked his run back, and it was too far in front of either of them really. McKenna running through late on the edge of the area and harmlessly through to the goalkeeper in the end, but nice to see those darting balls through the centre, because they can really open up defences.
I definitely think it's one thing we'll probably try to say to Simon this season, just try and add to his game, because he is fantastic going round the player and whipping balls in. but sometimes defenders are going to actually start reading, you know, what he's doing, and they'll just stand off him and let him try and take it around them. But if he can actually vary his game and play balls inside, then as a defender, he's going to be dangerous both ways, so then it's going to be harder to mark. You know, and that was a good example. He cut inside and he actually played a good ball through. Just a little bit of misunderstanding, but we nearly got through there again.
Yeah, certainly, well, we've seen the element of Simon's game that sees him get down the right-hand flank and sometimes down the left flank as well, and exploit the width. It would be nice to see him come central at times, whether it's with the ball at his feet or passing the ball through. Plymouth have it now at the back with a long ball forward, looking for Ebanks-Blake, and he will just about keep that in under pressure, pulls it back, and there's a good foot in from Alexander to knock it out of play. Plymouth with the throw, Preston meanwhile with the lead. It's an absolute corker from Pugh on 11 minutes, which sees Preston with an early lead here, looking to get their form back in shape. There's the throw in towards the centre, headed away. Whaley gets a touch forward, and it's back towards the halfway line. And knocked forward again where Alexander can meet the ball. And it's just a bit tennis at the moment, backwards and forwards. Preston doing a little bit of defending. Simon Whaley does well, gets it down the line. Nugent manages to go for the ball, and Ormerod turns his man, and now he's got a break on. Ormerod with two green shirts around him, tries to go through the middle, takes a tumble, flag goes up. He's won the free kick, but I think it's going to be just outside the area. I think he'd just taken it a little bit too far and ran into the player and went down, but he's won himself a free kick in a very useful position. But what will the referee do as a result here? It looks like he's going to produce a card of some sort.
Defender round about him as well, and the bit obviously it's knocked a little bit too far. You probably didn't see there that actually fantastic. Obviously didn't see, but a fantastic run by Danny Pugh. You know, I think if just looked up, he'd have rolled Danny in, and it was just a side foot for Danny. You know, it was a great break from Danny there. Unlucky Brett, obviously hasn't played that many games, probably eager to get on the score sheet himself, like any striker. Probably better off just laying the ball across.
It's Doumbe who went into the book, and he's been dragged central quite a bit actually, and that doesn't surprise me because he is more of a centre back, and he's playing in that right back position. And that will leave acres of space for Pugh to exploit, as we've said there. And well, we've got another scoring opportunity here. McKenna stood over the ball. Well, he just looked like he's shaping to shoot here. Chilvers, right-footed, takes a deflection, loops high, but the keeper can get underneath it. And well, another string to Mr. Chilvers' bow, able to pass the ball 30-40 yards, and free kick specialist as well.
Free kick specialist, but he can smash it from 30 yards, let me tell you that.
Well, cultured centre-back we'll call him now. Back towards the halfway line, Sedgwick plays it over the top, but far too distant for David Nugent to get after. There's Doumbe, he's just gone into the book. Norris, who was lucky to escape going into the book earlier in front of him, but he chooses the longer option and finds Hales, who turns well, showing he's dangerous. Good ball in towards the centre, and there's a great effort which was well saved by Nash. I think it was Capaldi who had the final effort. His low cross into the centre was a poor one in the end, and it's knocked behind for a goal kick. But that was Plymouth exploiting a good ball into the centre from Hales. Capaldi on that left-hand side met it well, but a great save from Carlo Nash.
Yeah, brilliant turn by Barry Hales there, and put the ball, fantastic ball, just one of those 40 balls as a full-back and as a defender. You just don't know how it's going to fly, and it's just gone over Graham's head, and good strike by Capaldi. But again this season, Nash was equal to it.
He certainly has been. He's not been called into action that much because of the way Preston have dominated games, but when he has been, he's certainly been a match for a lot of the efforts on goal, and that was a superb save. McCormick clears it away. So Plymouth showing that this is not going to be a walkover. And Whaley can't quite get to that ball. Yellow boots or no. And it's down the left-hand side. Plymouth bringing it away with a chip ball towards the edge of the area. Chilvers nods it away, and it's helped on by McKenna in the centre. Plymouth have it with a ball back to McCormick in goal. High into the afternoon sky with that clearance away. And Seip under pressure from Nugent has lost the ball. His ball for Ormerod was just too far in front of him, and I think he'd strayed offside anyway. Although was it actually given against Nugent coming back onside and back into play there?
David come back onside. He's also a little bit sharp in his runs, but you can see. Sorry, carry on.
Hales just interrupting Callum Davidson's flow there as he comes down the right and looks to produce another one of those crosses into the centre. He'll try and get it on his right foot. It's well, not quite as good as the last cross we saw from him. It was a low one which was easily dealt with. Although saying that, that's a bit of a hospital ball from Pugh back to Hill, and under pressure from Hales, Hill has taken a knock, clearing the ball away. As a defender, that is not the kind of ball that you look forward to getting on the end.
No, you know you're going to get hurt when you're going in for that, and obviously Danny just played a little bit short. And Barry Hales, again, probably didn't go with any intent. If you're going for the intent, he probably would have hurt Matty. But as a striker, you sort of got to go for them, and as a fullback, you must go for them, you know, unless it's advantage of the other team.
Nash it will be to take the resulting free kick. 20 minutes in, Preston 1, Plymouth Argyle 0. Contender for certainly goal of the afternoon, possibly goal of the month from Danny Pugh, although he'd be hard pushed to beat that Asherman effort earlier in the season for goal of the season. It's going to be Doumbe with the throw in just inside his own half into the Sutton finish stand. It's nodded out of play by Pugh. Bit of territorial advantage for Plymouth to the advance into Preston territory. At halfway, and Doumbe being told that actually he didn't win that much ground, mate, get back. Bit of defending for Preston to do here. Doumbe looking for options, finds them eventually. There's the flick on in the centre from Luke Summerfield, son of former Pilgrims midfielder Kevin, former assistant manager. Nash launching the ball through the centre, and it's got a good distance on it, but I don't think it's going to be much use as it goes straight through to Luke McCormick. Although he's a bit happy for a bit of catching practice. Rolled down that left hand side, and it's a high diagonal ball down the right flank, which actually Plymouth can get a hold of here. Norris won't get on the end of that though. It's head in hands quite right for Luke Summerfield. His ball forward was a poor one. And it's straight off the pitch again, and just interrupting the flow of things once again.
Sorry, you can actually see the way Plymouth play. You know, they get the ball at the back, they shell it forward, they play off the scraps, they play in set pieces and throw-ins. You know, and it's they press the game really well. Obviously, as a sort of fan point of view, it doesn't actually lead to an entertaining open game. You know, but I think it's one of these games you've just got to, knock it down.
Preston have it here with Nugent intercepting, plays it out wide. Pugh with a good ball into centre. Nugent arriving, but it was just behind him. I think he was missighted as he went up for the ball, and that was a great opportunity for Preston. But here's one for Plymouth on the break down the left. But you're right, Callum, in that there seems to be quite a gap between the front two and the midfield and defence. It's almost getting 8 men behind the ball and 2 up front looking for the long ball forward. And there is a one for Preston, and flag was up against David Nugent, trying to keep the line but couldn't. And he ended up catching the ball. It's going to be a free kick for offside. There is at times a sizable gap between the midfield and the front two for Plymouth, and that's probably their aim, just to make sure that they're defensively tight, and anything else is a bonus. Those long balls forward rather. Hales gets it down the left. Capaldi is there, got support in the middle. It's a high, difficult actual cross to deal with there, but Hill does well. And it just turned in towards goal in the end, but harmlessly so. Nash will collect that comfortably and take his time before knocking this one out. He seems to be wearing a different coloured kit every week, Carlo, Nash. What's going on?
It's because he's a fashion icon, isn't he?
With his kit changes and Simon Whaley's boots, it's like absolutely like a pair of grumpy old men in this commentary box, aren't we? Non-contact football, coloured shorts and socks and boots and all sorts. I don't know. There's nothing. Scarf. This is Top Shop's finest, I'll have you know. Ball through the centre, and Brett will get after that. Brett Ormerod, but nodded back to Luke McCormick. There is nothing wrong with this scarf. It does a job. Headed forward. slightly off-putting if that's the job. Ball down the right-hand side, and there's Hill, who keeps it in and then knocks it out of play for a throw into Plymouth.
Please go to the Sir Tom Finney reception, please. Mrs. Penker.
Doumbe gets it back, and there's Seip inside to Summerfield. Plymouth under pressure, retreat back to McCormick in goal. Right-footed, there's that high ball through the centre again. The clearance away from the keeper. Hales will go up for it, almost won it, but St Ledger, persistent, managed to get hold of it. Alexander's took that a little bit too far as he intercepted, but he's got it back now. Plays a diagonal ball through the centre. Nugent will quite get there. Seip heads it away, and it's through the centre with Plymouth Argyle. There's Chilvers' chip ball over the top, which Nugent was after, but again the flag is up, and frustration growing in the voices of the Preston crowd. And Callum Davidson alongside me. I think if that's one area that David Nugent needs to work on at times, it's that running the line, but he has got some uncanny pace. Really, he should use it at times and just hang fire. At times he runs a little bit better and use the pace that he's got to get round the defender.
Definitely. Again, it's another one linesman. The fans are getting frustrated because the linesman's actually put his flag up probably 4 or 5 seconds after, but then that's his rules. That's what he's got to. The law he's got to abide by. It is frustrating. I'd be annoyed if I was striking and I run 40 yards getting the ball, and as soon as I touched it, he put the flag up. But that's what he's been told to do, and it's frustrating because it's something we don't quite understand.
It does seem like a ridiculous rule in those circumstances. Down the left-hand side, Plymouth with a chip ball in towards the centre. Ebanks-Blake can't get there, and there's Hill to clear it away. In difficult circumstances, got good distance. Headed forward, St Ledger can't get there. There's McKenna. It is just getting a little bit scrappy. McKenna manages to clear, and the ball is knocked out of play. How important is it for Preston to enforce their own game onto this match rather than get drawn into a scrappy affair?
Yeah, it is in a way. Obviously it's important for 25 minutes to obviously just to match them. I'll probably see Christopher and Paul in the middle of the park will probably actually hook the ball on more times than they have all season, but maybe that's what the manager's actually told them to do. Because it is important not to give them any little scraps in our half. And obviously they've played the game right so far. We are 1-0 up. They have created very little. So free though. But offside again. But it is important for us just to match them, and then again, as you say, start to influence the game and how we play. We don't get sucked into it now. Probably the time is now to start getting the ball down and passing it. It's a funny game. It's a funny atmosphere today. The crowd are very quiet. We're not playing that well. They're not the most exciting to watch. So I think it is probably time for us to get the ball down and start knocking it about.
Well, the opportunity would be a good one. We've got a set piece on the far side. McCormick launching it forward, and with the assistant referee constantly raising his flag, it doesn't lead to an open flowing game. Hales will get the ball back at the second attempt, although it's taken off his toe. Now Preston can break with Whaley if he can release the ball down that line. He has done. Nugent's after it, using that pace we spoke of and strength to hold the ball up. But with a shoving going on, you can hear the dissent in the Preston crowd. I don't like that.
Just a little bit guilty. Just the ball went over the head. And he just pushed him a lot. He just raises his hands there. He did it about probably 10 minutes ago. And if he actually keeps his hands down and just sort of falls into the player, then the referee can't give a foul because he's immediately raised his hands. Lineman's saying foul. And if he keeps his hands down there, he's not going to get a free kick against him.
I think it's just a question of using a bit more guile and making it less obvious that, this is it. Well, far be it from me to call you old, but you're an experienced man, aren't you? Down through the centre it goes as Nugent is trying to get round the back and take away that option. The header back to the goalkeeper. It's St Ledger who slides in, and Capaldi actually comes off the better, wins the throw, takes it quickly. Plymouth again with that long ball towards the edge of the area. Not that they're predictable. Towards the centre it went, but Nash came over and claimed. He'll take his time here in his nice new red kit. Launch it forward. Down the right it goes. Whaley will get up for it, but won't win it. And will play for a throw-in again on that far side. That assistant referee is not going to be a popular man come the end of this game, I feel. Quite happy to put his flag up. Preston fans don't take too kindly to that. It's 1-0 to Preston. Pugh with a goal on 11 minutes. It's behind for a goal kick, which Nash will take in again. It's gone very quiet around the ground. Atmosphere is not particularly exciting at the moment. Perhaps reflects the majority of the play in this game, although the one highlight, that fantastic effort that we saw from Pugh, really was a sweet shot that flew into the back of the net. Nash knocking the ball forward. Flick on attempted by Nugent, in the end it's a header back on that far side by Sawyer. McCormick can knock the ball through the centre. Bit of shoving on Hales, but he manages to get the flick on. Through to Nash it goes. And it's, well, I'd say it's end-to-end stop, but not in the right way, really. Down the left-hand side. Yeah. And there's Ormerod holding it up by the corner flag. Now, chance for Preston to pressurise. Pugh lays it off. McKenna with options inside, and he's found Hill. Hill back to McKenna. Will he switch play down the right-hand side? Tries a ball towards the centre. Nugent manages to get his head on it. It is cleared away by Capaldi on the left. Good header from St Ledger. Plymouth pick up possession. On the right, Doumbe manages to turn, bring it inside and lay it forward. Good play that from the makeshift right back. Finds Norris, plays a low ball towards Hales, who wins possession but has to take it wide. Just about keeps it in play. He's got support from Doumbe. In fact, he plays it inside to Norris and he plays that ball in towards the centre. It's cleared away, and there's a right-footed spectacular effort from Summerfield. It was going to take something special to get something on target from there, and it was high and wide in the end. But we've seen David Norris at times just play some good, intelligent football from this right-hand side, threading some good passes, being involved in some good movement. You feel if something's going to come from Plymouth, it is going to be down this right, with either Norris or Hales involved.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, there's a great little bit of football in Plymouth, you know, and it's surprising to actually see why they don't actually try and play more, because they created a good opportunity there. They got in actually our penalty box, you know, in a good area for a cross. I think it was a good block by Lilian, but they play some good stuff there. And, I think if they get Norris on the ball, I think he's on these plays, he's not wide right. I mean, he sort of tucks in, he plays in that little hole, very difficult to pick up. I think if they can get him on the ball, although they haven't really been trying, you know, I think they might get some joy from that.
On the contrary, if they continue with the long ball game, I think it's just heading practice for the Chilvers and St Ledger. I presume they'd quite welcome the long ball game continuing. It's a throw in for Plymouth, but they're inside their own territory, level with the edge of their own area. In front of the Tom Finney stand down the right. And it's a throw in that was, I think, just slipped out of his hands. Doumbe as he took it, but Plymouth have it now. It's that man, Norris. Sedgwick picks up possession. His ball through was charged down and knocked out of play. And it's a Preston throw as we approach. We'll just go over the half-hour mark. It's felt like longer, hasn't it?
No, it has to be. It's cold up here as well, though.
You need a scarf, old boy. On the right it goes, and there's Whaley going up for it. Out of play it goes for a throw-in. He studied university stuff. What kind of person do you think I am? I'm a fashion guru that's deliberately this colour. Down the right-hand side it goes. Same place that Sam and Whaley got his boots from. And it's a throw-in about 10 or 15 yards from the corner flag. Besides which, no university's now. Yeah, that's it. That's about right. Yeah, and it's a throw-in for Plymouth. Down the line it goes, and it's a bit of a mess in the centre at the moment. Played down that left-hand side for Hales to try and get underneath. Again, St Ledger manages to get it away. Late challenge on the far side, eventually given. And just complaining about the height of that. Referee gives the free kick to Preston. Taken by Alexander, although not sure what he was thinking at that point, because Nugent was well offside and had to come back onside, and in the end it went straight through to Luke McCormick.
I think Paul Simpson, our manager, will be actually probably concerned about it. You know, I think they're probably quite happy. You know, these are some games, you get these games in this league. You know, I think if we can sort of control them, you know, obviously limit their chances and limit the balls in the box they get, and I think the manager's going to be quite happy, you know, and if we obviously make sure we don't give them any chance at our half and just play in their half, I think the manager will be quite happy. I know it's not great for the fans, but you know, 3 points are the most important thing. If that's what we get by playing this way, then I'm happy with that.
Preston down the right-hand side, chance to stretch a lead with Whaley trying to play a low ball into the centre. Well charged down on that far side. Plymouth will clear their lines, but only as far as Alexander with a good ball looking for Sedgwick, who will keep that in just. Plays a good ball into the centre. Waiting was Nugent, but it was towards the front post, and there was McCormick to collect, and he goes out towards the end area and rolls it out, and Plymouth can bring the ball away on the break. But that's better from Preston, a bit more open play. And there's Hales knocking it down that left-hand side for Capaldi to try and find him with a 1-2. Preston have it with McKenna playing the ball forward. That was a bit first time, but it's fell to Brett Ormerod in the end. And the play it goes for a throw in on the far side. You're never happy though with 1-0, are you, Carlo? As you saw against Coventry, you know, all it takes is a bit of pressure from the opposition and one chance, and you have to settle for a point. Yeah,
exactly. You know, obviously, I think the way we're playing, you know, obviously getting not very many chances, we're creating a few. I think if we can take another one of those chances and just carry on what we're doing, you know, maybe just try and get the ball down a little bit more, get the ball switched out to this left-hand side. You know, we are quite a biased right-hand side team, you know, with Simon playing wide, we're all trying to get the ball to him. I think if we see to get Matty and Danny Pugh on the ball more, they get more joy.
The defending for, well, Chilvers and Nash to do there, under pressure from Ebanks-Blake. Nash with that ball forward again, which is straight through to McCormick. Do you think he's just trying to get the shots on target statistics back up?
Just getting, look at me, tell our keeper, look how far I can kick it.
In my shiny new red kit.
Can you kick it this far?
Sedgwick goes, and Sedgwick nods it away. McCormick is going to have to do it from the floor if he wants to test Nash, and from a good 70 yards or so. It's not good. It's not bad towards the edge of the area. And Plymouth have it with Whaley sliding in down the right. Doumbe's there. He's going to look to either play a ball into the centre or look for a 1-2 with Norris, which Norris and Capaldi on the right hand side for the time being, playing the ball forward, and Whaley can clear. A good flick on from Nugent, shoving the back that the referee says was perfectly fair. David Nugent's not too convinced about that. And there's Hill to head it forward. Norris is loitering and picks up the ball on the edge of the area. There was a challenge. It did go to the ground. It was on the edge of the area. There's a free kick in a similar position to where Preston had one for Chilvers. And Callum Davidson, are you of an opinion that perhaps was a dive?
I think he went down rather easily there. I didn't really see a foot out from Liam, and he just fell over like a sack sponge, you know. But it's a dangerous position. You're right in the edge of our box. You know, obviously Nash has got to be away here. I imagine there's a couple of them in the team that can hit a good free kick.
Got Capaldi and Summerfield stood over it for the time being. Looks like Capaldi's shaping it up. Nash is pulling his wall back with the assistance of the referee. Will they shape to chip it into the far post, or will Capaldi drill something in here? Nash on his near post for the time being. Referee Kevin Friend just makes sure that wall is the full 10 yards. Capaldi jogs back and hits it left-footed, low, straight into the wall, comes back out. There's a rifled low left-footed shot from Hasney Aljofree, but harmlessly wide from the former Bolton Wanderers reserve. And well, no danger there in the end, but you want to really, a team like Plymouth have got to be getting shots on target from those kind of set pieces, I suppose, rather than Capaldi's very disappointing.
Yeah, it was a dismal effort. I think he's obviously just shanked. I think he's just trying to hit a hard sort of curler in the far corner, and he's just like go over the ball a little bit. Luckily for us, it hit the wall. It was a very dangerous position.
Plymouth now with a hooked ball forward from Summerfield. There's Sedgwick knocking it through, and Ormerod is after it. Flag is up on the far side. Getting involved in play, and that assistant referee is doing nothing.
It was offside, and actually he was coming back on playing. Brett had run through, you know, clearly onside. You know, I don't know if he would have got the ball anyway, but you know, he just seemed, hopefully he's that happy in the second half putting it up offside for them.
certainly getting a bit of a reputation with the Preston crowd at the moment.
I think Plymouth are doing quite well at the back. I think the two centre halves they've got, they don't look the biggest of centre halves, but they look quite, they're also quite pacey and well drilled. And what they're doing is actually stepping up, as I said before. We should be doing a little bit more, and making David and Brett work hard to get back on side, then to come to make another run. You know, so they're actually giving them an extra run by squeezing those 4 or 5 yards up.
Clearance from the back, and it's found Doumbe down the right. Manages to keep control of the ball, but then gives it away with a ball back towards Lilian Nalis, and now Preston can come away. Good ball through. Ormerod this time has beaten the offside tap. He's gone round the keeper. All he has to do is finish. He taps it home, and Preston have a 2-0 lead. That time they ran the line. That time they exposed Plymouth, and now they're in control of this game. Callum, for once, Preston managed to run the offside trap.
Yeah, definitely. Luckily I said that they were doing really well, because that's they've obviously just let Brett run through. They've tried to squeeze the game with no pressure on the ball. I think it was Danny Pugh put a great ball through. Brett's timed it well, round the keeper, you know, and it's got another goal for Brett. You know, he's doing very well, very pleased for him. And obviously worked with rehab with him, and he's really pleased for Brett.
Well, 2 goals in 2 games from 2 starts this season. That's not a bad statistics at all, is it really? Well, that's his 4th of the season as well. He's made quite a number of appearances from the bench, but well, that was a really good accomplished finish. Did enough to take it round the keeper. It was just a question of making sure it got knocked home before the defenders could recover and maybe get a foot on it, but he did well and managed to get the ball in the back of the net, and for once Preston beating the offside trap. And as you pointed out, Callum, that was just after he'd complimented the Plymouth defence for their efficient offside traps.
Well, for Plymouth as well.
It's Preston who just get the ball away there with Simon Whaley, and good clearance from Chilvers. Appeals for a free kick, but I think he just fell into the defender there, Ebanks-Blake, and Doumbe comes down the right hand side. Chip ball low in towards the centre. There's Barry Hales twisting and turning and trying to get a ball towards goal. Nash comes down low at his front post and in a dangerous position, claims the ball under pressure from not just Ebanks-Blake but also from St Ledger in the centre. It's always dangerous as a goalkeeper there, but diving at people's feet, he's done well there, Carlo Nash.
That's Barry Hale's probably what he's known for, twisting, turning the box, got a good ball across the front post, and Nash has got down to it well brave, you know, the striker coming down at his feet, at his head.
There's Nalis and the French contingent getting the ball away. Nugent's racing over, and this time he is onside. Good ball in towards the centre, looking for a third here, Preston. And Sedgwick running in, can't get there. McCormick manages to get there. And the left back, Hill comes out, and then his body checked on this right side by Norris. And that is a horrendous challenge. And he made no attempt to play the ball, he just left his body in the challenge. Hill has gone down, and he looks to be in pain. And that was a cynical late challenge from Norris, who's already been warned for flying in on the left back a little earlier in the game. Now, what will Mr. Friend do here? Will this be the 50th booking of the season for him, or will it be the 4th red? See, statistics all the time from me. It is going to be a yellow. But that really was a cynical challenge, wasn't it?
To be honest, I think he was the keeper threw it out. It was one of those balls that went over Norris's head, and Hilly had read it well, you know, and he'd actually just taken a touch round him. You know, Norris could have jumped out the way, but most players like myself, I'd have just stood there. You know, maybe it was a little bit cynical, but I'd have probably done the same as Norris, you know, and smashed Hilly.
Ball in towards the centre, flicked on by Chilvers, comes back out, appeals for a shove in the box, not given. And Capaldi can bring it away on the left-hand side for Argyle. The Pilgrims looking for a way back into this game, and it's another long ball looking for Ebanks-Blake. There's Alexander trying to clear, and well, Sedgwick makes a bit of a mess of that attempted head back to Alexander. Why he was trying it in the first place, I'm unsure. That's going to be a free kick on the far side as a result of that, and Sedgwick's just put Preston under pressure there.
I don't actually think it was a foul though. He just shoulder to shoulder. You know, Capaldi didn't actually go down. It was actually Sedgwick that fell down. He's given a free kick. Again, the referee obviously a little bit happy blowing his whistle there, but dangerous position. This is where Plymouth are dangerous, and we've got to be on our toes.
Certainly have a number of big players in there. Seip's in there, but it's a low one towards the front post, and not behind for Plymouth's first corner of the game. And well, referee making himself popular as well as the assistant referee. It seemed to be a fairly innocuous challenge that gave away the free kick that's led to this corner. It's a bit of pushing and shoving in the centre between Nash and Ebanks-Blake, and now the referee's going to have a word with him, Ebanks-Blake that is, and explain that he shouldn't really be pulling and poking at Carlo Nash's lovely new red shirt. Corner to be swung in from the far side. Left-footed, and it's a deep one towards the back, and right-footed Summerfield meets it, and eventually it comes down with snow on. Well, it was an interesting one, but unless you're Ryan Giggs and Paul Scholes, they don't really come off those very often, do they?
Yeah, it was actually a difficult ball to take. You know, it's, I think we're quite happy with a ball like that in the set piece. You know, so I think their manager probably really annoyed with that. You know, it's also 1 minute to go to half time. They've tried to hit a 30-yard volley from outside the box. You know, I think they're probably better off sticking the ball in the box and causing us a little bit of pressure.
Well, it's Nash with the resulting goal kick. And it really was a bit of a let-off there for Preston. Holloway's side looked to produce something from the training ground, which would have been difficult in the best of circumstances. But 2-0 down in the final minute of the first half. Not really the opportunity for it, I feel, but free kick given, and comes down the right-hand side. Doumbe picks it up under pressure now from Pugh. And Plymouth just about bring the ball away, although Doumbe again takes it forward. And there is the half-time whistle from Kevin Friend, and it's been a good first half for Preston North End. The first goal coming on 11 minutes from Pugh, a lovely left-footed rifled effort which flew into the top corner and left McCormick with absolutely no chance. And then on 40 minutes, a good ball through the centre released Brett Ormerod, who for once in what seemed to be an age-long first half filled with free kicks for offside. Brett Ormerod managed to break that offside trap. He got round the keeper and slotted the ball home and made it 2-0, and it's pretty comfortable for Preston, Callum.
Yeah, definitely. I think from the fans' point of view, not the greatest of games for myself. It's probably one of the worst games I've seen all season from us at home, especially. But 2-0 up, you know, looking pretty comfortable. 2 good goals as well. You know, I think you got to be happy. I think you get these games in the league, as I said before. I think the manager will be just going carry on what we're doing. You know, maybe probably like to see the ball down a little bit more, but don't give them any chances, and 3 points is ours.
You can't complain, can you, if you're not playing particularly well and you lead 2-0 at half time?
No, exactly. You know, it's as I said, you know, it's they haven't played well. Probably played miles better against Birmingham. You know, and find themselves a bit down at half time, 2-1 down at half time. You know, they didn't play well and they're 2-0 up. So, you know, football is a funny game. And I think
all the cliches are being rolled out now.
It's a game of 2 halves.
Also sends a special kiss. Happy birthday to Daniel Jones, who is 19, the talent from home with dad, grandma and granddad, Sister Laura and family. Daniel's favourite player is David Nugent. Happy third birthday to Ashley Parkinson from Mummy, Daddy and Joshua.
It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Who is 5 and sits on the middle shortly cup. His favourite player is Carlo Nash.
Yeah.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
Convinced
make
they
some
are.
noise for the second goal for Preston North End.
Convinced by half time. No. Well, they made me the same promise at the start of the season. I've not had one yet. So there you go. I'm about to get the second half back underway, and we were talking at half time, saying that not a fantastic performance, but 2-0 up and not playing well, you'd take that any day. And let's see if it's an improved performance from Preston. Should they improve, surely the score will as well. Plymouth haven't really threatened. That one chance from Capaldi, which was well saved by Carlo Nash, and that was the one real good ball they put across the face of goal from Hales. And now Preston down the right hand side, looking to exploit a bit of space with Whaley, puts it through the legs of the defender and takes a tumble but doesn't win a free kick. Ball knocked forward, and McKenna knocks it wide for Alexander. McKenna's ball forward's a high one. It's headed away by Hasney Aljofree, who appears to be in a kind of left-back role, Aljofree, with Sawyer inside, Marcel, Seip and Mathias Doumbe. It's a bit of a makeshift defence for Plymouth, having a number of injuries in that area.
Half really, isn't it, playing across the back? They've got, you know, they've been quite organised quite well. Obviously that once got cut out, the offside, they have been organised really well. You can tell it's probably 4 centre half, not probably the most attacking as you say. Obviously Liam Chilvers fantastic on the ball, and not many centre halves are. That's why probably they play centre half as well, but you know, they are quite organised.
I used to play centre half. What are you trying to say?
So I'm not that good at.
I can head a ball though. It's a free kick to Preston, and Alexander will take. Curling ball down the right flank, which Nugent does well to hold up and lay off to Simon Whaley, who plays it inside to McKenna. McKenna to Hill. Hill with Pugh outside him. Pugh has it, gives it back to Hill. Good stuff goes from Preston. Is that 3 or 4 passes? My goodness me. The ball in towards the centre, headed back to Luke McCormick, but it really does stand out when a few passes get spread around, because it's been so stop-start this afternoon.
Yeah, definitely. That's another instance where Matty got in a good position. You know, I've talked to Matty about it as well. He's got to drive forward. He's got ability to go past players, Matty. You know, and there he got into a good area and he just checked back in. Sometimes with Matty, maybe just for himself, just have a go, you know, and just knock it by the guy. If he doesn't, nothing happens. But it's part of the game. I think Matty's he's got in his locker, and I think he can improve. You know, in his game, and I think that can make him a better all-round player.
Throw in on this left side, and it's Whaley who heads it forward. Ormerod trying to battle and win the ball from Hasney and Aljofree, and I think we've as the assistant referee switched sides, we've got another free kick, another one that Callum Davidson doesn't agree with, and it's Aljofree who's going to take it. The central player playing in that left back position. Good ball towards the edge of the area, well defended, headed away, and well, a bit more defending to do here. It's tumbling to the ground and wasting that chance as Ebanks-Blake. Well, he's gone pretty much for it. In fact, it's a good ball in the end, almost found Nugent, but pretty much straight through to the opposition's keeper once again. Yes, Carlo Nash with the delicate side of Preston's game there. It's Whaley laying it back to Alexander. Alexander knocks it over the top, and out comes McCormick. In fact, it almost sold him short there, as it took a bit of an awkward bounce just before he kicked it. And Preston with a throw-in, spending most of their time in the Plymouth half, not content with this 2-0 lead. Ormerod holding it up. He's had a good game, Ormerod. Back to Alexander. Ormerod has it again. Plays a good ball down the right-hand side this time, and there's Sedgwick. He'll look to cross. His second attempt, is it? No, third. Charged down in the end, and out for a throw-in. Whaley with support behind him from Alexander, taken quickly. There is Alexander. Can't really shape to cross. He has to pull it back. Across the middle and back towards the halfway line. Chilvers to Hill. Under pressure. Ball down the right from Hill to Whaley. Whaley right in the corner of the box. Tries a low crossing towards the centre. It's charged down, and Preston have a corner. But that was another great crossfield pass. There's a difference, isn't there, between the kind of things that we've seen from Plymouth, which have been quite central and lumped forward, and when we have seen long balls from Preston, they've been quite accurate and opening play up down the flanks. I'll come back to you on that in a second, Callum, as we're about to get this corner swung in right-footed from Alexander in towards the middle, headed away. Will Whaley recover? No, he leaves it for Pugh. Unaccustomed as he is down this right-hand side, into Whaley, chip ball in towards the centre, header comes in, but it's always rising and over the crossbar and slightly wide as well from St Ledger, but that was a good ball into the centre, which found the young centre-back. But Preston, when they have needed to use those longer balls, have done them with more accomplished effort than Plymouth have, really. Yeah,
definitely was a good ball from Matty. You know, a couple of options. Danny with a fantastic. You actually watched it. He spun short, and then he spun in behind. Sorry, he came short and he spun in behind. You know, made a good run and gave an option. Looked like Matty was going to play it to him, but Matty's actually reversed the ball out to Simon, which is a good quality ball. You know, and I think, you know, obviously it's been a little bit better today than Plymouth's final ball.
coming forward here with Summerfield running through. It's finally dispossessed, and Whaley does well there to dissect the two Plymouth players and play it into the centre for McKenna. The long ball forward, and that's a late challenge again. And this time, I think it's Capaldi who's put a boot in after the play had moved on. And we're just seeing that on occasion that Plymouth are just letting their exuberance get a bit carried away in challenges. And he's already booked a couple, Kevin Friend. He just refrains from adding Capaldi's name to the book. But we've seen some really late challenges from Doumbe and Norris in particular. Nash to take this free kick. Through the centre. And it is flicked on by Nugent, just knocked out of the play. Throw in down the right flank. Whaley leaves it for Alexander. And he's going to look for a white shirt towards the edge of the area. Finds it. And held up well by Sedgwick. Lays it off to McKenna. Preston retreating back to the halfway line, but they're keeping hold of the ball. Ball over the top looking for Alexander. It's nodded out of play for another Preston throw. And again, we're seeing this right bias that you talked about in the first half. I can't help but think sometimes I'll just break off as Brett Ormerod does well, plays a low ball into the centre, and it is cleared away in the end. Hales is doing a bit of defending, but he's dispossessed well by McKenna, who manages to get around two men. Oh, no, he takes a tumble, and that is a penalty. But Paul McKenna just doing wonderful stuff on the edge of the box, skips round two Plymouth defenders, and then takes a tumble in the area and wins a penalty for Preston North End. Now, there's something going on down by the corner flag in the meanwhile. Hasney Aljofree saying that McKenna went to ground a little easily, I think. The referee, Kevin Friend, is having to shove protesting Plymouth Argyle players away from the assistant referee. And I'll come back to that little piece of skill from McKenna with you, Callum, in a second. The referee is calling over. I think it's Barry Hales who's going to get carded here. Hales, who's not yet got into the book. Hasney Aljofree is there as well, who hasn't either, but he's sent away. Hales has probably said something a little bit too much, and he becomes the third Plymouth Argyle player to go into the book. But quickly, before we get this penalty, a lovely piece of skill by McKenna to open up Plymouth.
Well, as all Scotland fans can remember, sort of Archie Gemmill like 1978 against Holland. You know, great bit of skill. Must have taken it past three players, you know, and I think he just cut across Barry Hales, and he just sort of nudged him a little bit, getting down a little bit easy, but it definitely was a penalty.
Penalty for Alexander, looking for his third of the season from the spot, and his third, I think, in front of the Alan Kelly town end. Alexander. The referee, Kevin Friend, just stood over the ball. Substitution in the meanwhile for Plymouth. Maybe that's a delaying tactic, but we've seen Buzsaki come on. In the meanwhile, Alexander about to take the penalty kick. McCormick dancing around on his line. Referee Kevin Friend retreats towards the edge of the area, makes sure all players are outside the box. And he's just going over to the far side now. Alexander for three here. Steps up and finishes well, and that's the third of the season for him, the third of the game for Preston, and it's a comfort zone now for North End. They really opened up Plymouth there with that skipping run from McKenna, and in the end they get the penalty they justly deserve. It's Preston 3, Plymouth Argyle 0. As Callum Davidson, well, celebrates with his cup of tea and a mince pie as well. All right, it's all falling into place. The mince pies are dished out. Do we get this every time Preston go 3-0 up? Fantastic. It's the mince pie bonus as the coffee's dished out. Alexander with the goal from the spot on 55 minutes. Well deserved as well. Preston coming forward. Ormerod and Plymouth all over the show at the moment. And he's taken a tumble, and that's a free kick on the edge of the area. Well, this could turn into a bit of a rout here. Well, there's a clear difference between these two sides. Plymouth have not threatened Preston, although they haven't created a handful of chances. They've pretty much scored them every time. And the latest coming after McKenna skipped round 2 challenges, finally went to ground on the 3rd, although protestations that he went down a little easily from the Plymouth side. In the end, a penalty was given and Alexander scored. Free kick to be taken, and I think it's McKenna who stood over it. It's just outside the area. It is taken by McKenna, but it's high and over the crossbar, and well, he has to wait for his 2nd of the season for the time being. I would have thought after that run that he made for the penalty that he would have wanted to take it himself, wouldn't he?
No, I don't think. You can't argue with Graham Alexander taking penalties. Probably the best penalty taker I've seen. You know, and I think we got a penalty last season against Stoke. We all turned round and see where Graham was. He's actually gone off the pitch, and we're all going, "Oh, who's going to take the penalty?" You know, that's how much obviously you know Graham's going to take the penalties.
He's just taking a bit of a knock there. He's rubbing the back of his head. Meanwhile, Plymouth have a rare attack down the right-hand side. Into the area they go. A collision on the edge of the area, and a free kick for Plymouth in a useful position. Summerfield, it looks like, could be stood over the ball to take this one. 3 green shirts around it though, including the substitute Bizaki, I think that's how you pronounce it. I haven't got a clue, to be honest, I'm just guessing. And it's just 2 or 3 yards outside the Preston area. It is Bizaki, hits it right-footed over the crossbar, harmlessly behind, and Preston can calm things down a little with the resulting goal kick. But they've never really, aside from that Capaldi effort in the first half, troubled Preston at the back, and there's been a clear gulf between these two sides. And as you say, Kyle, I think occasions like this you expect to see all the substitutes used and fresh legs put on, resting players. There's always a danger there, isn't there, of opposition creeping back into games. Just to clarify that substitution, it was Sawyer who went off during that penalty. And the player who came on was Bizaki, who's more of a midfielder. Looks like they've juggled things around a little bit. It's a throw on the left-hand side. I think Capaldi's kind of gone back to that left-back role, and he's heading the ball forward. Ebanks-Blake turns and chests it down. Hale's making a nuisance of himself. It comes back out. It's a right-footed ball, high towards Ebanks-Blake, and he's done well releasing the play down the right-hand side and towards the area in Norris, and that's probably the most promising piece of open play from Plymouth in this entire game so far. Most of it's been pretty direct stuff, but that was 2 or 3 passes strung around, and there's McKenna in again. Industrious wins the ball, plays it forward, through the centre it goes. Ormerod challenging for it but not winning. It's flicked through the centre, and there's Chilvers who can put that behind into the pavilion end. Lilian stand rather, down the right-hand side. And there's a good clearance from Hill through the centre, over the top. Due to McCormick in the end. Summerfield lays the ball off, and Nalis has it, lays it through the centre. Hill does well to challenge and win it once, but down the right-hand side it goes. Plymouth actually seem to have relaxed a little bit here since that 3rd goal. And into the area comes Ebanks-Blake. Put the ball into the centre, and a bit of defending for Preston to do here. Cleared away. Kept in play, but for Preston to capitalise here, Nugent can win the ball well. He has done, and won a free kick at the same time. Right in the halfway line. I think if anything, Preston want to slow play down a little bit here. Plymouth just seem to have relaxed a little. They've got nothing to lose now. ball over the top, and to no one in particular. Behind it goes for a goal kick. Well, again, let us emphasise, it's not been the best of performances by Preston, although the second half's been slightly brighter for them. But they lead by 3-0 nonetheless. It was a fantastic opening effort from Pugh from outside the area, rifled into the top corner. Ormerod put distance between them on 40 minutes, breaking the offside trap, slotting the ball into the corner. And then 10 minutes into the second half, Paul McKenna's darting run, skipping around two players, brought crashing to the ground. The resulting penalty, Alexander, made it 3-0. Throw in on the halfway line, foot in from McKenna, but he can't make contact. And Plymouth again showing a little bit more nous coming forward, and they're using the ball on the floor a bit more. There's that long clearance from Alexander, which was for once a bit wayward. And it's out of play on that far side. There's Norris nodding the ball back. There's Doumbe playing it across the back line to Capaldi, who switched left wing for left back. Alexander plays the ball down the line. Ormerod chests it down. Whaley plays it forward for Nugent to run onto. Good play that from Preston. Nugent tries to get round his man, keeps it in play just. Got support inside him from Ormerod. Whaley's in the area. Nugent looking for space to cross. His cross is charged down, and that is a corner.
Came off Nugent there, but good play by David. Again, I think it's important for us now just actually keep the ball. We had a good ball from Graham. Laid it back, another pass, down the sides. That's what we should be doing now. We should keep the ball and making them work hard to get the ball back off us. Because if they don't have the ball, it's going to be hard for them. And once they get it, it's going to be difficult for them to actually play with the ball, because you don't actually realise how hard it is to close the ball down. So if we can keep it, it's the most important thing for us just now.
Corner swung in from Pugh. It's a useful one in towards the front post, but out comes McCormick to claim. And his 100th appearance for Plymouth. To remember it fondly, conceding 3 goals through the centre to Akos Bazaki. I'll keep practicing that name, but it doesn't flow off the tongue. Summerfield plays it wide, but Capaldi won't get there, and it is behind for another goal kick.
Just to repeat a brief announcement, would Mrs. Penker please go to the St. Tom Finney reception?
It is
Mrs. Penker.
An odd atmosphere about a 3-0 scoreline, isn't it?
But think about Christmas. It's not a real sort of game. It's not like a real ebb and flow to the game. It's pretty stop-start. I think it is difficult for the fans to get into again. But as you say, we have 3-0 up. And it's it's one that it's just funny. You can't really describe it.
There's an odd one. Ball over the top, particularly given perhaps recent results. They would have thought that they've been right behind the team in order to try and get the form going. I'm certainly not pointing the finger at the fans, but it's just an odd atmosphere around the ground this afternoon.
It's the time of year as well, it's obviously it's cold out there, not a good game. It's obviously just funny. Probably better if you're playing against one of the big teams, near Christmas. I remember we played West Ham, I think it was 2 years ago. I think it was about 3 or 4 days before Christmas. Because it was West Ham, that atmosphere was electric. And I think it's just depending on the type of game and type of team you're playing against.
I mean, the time of year does come into it, doesn't it? Because looking around the ground, it's not the biggest attendance of the season, and it's of course a very expensive time for people, and perhaps that's told a little tonight.
Yeah, definitely did a lot of empty seats. It is expensive to come and watch. It has been touched upon before. The price of tickets. Obviously the fans turn out every week. It's great. But you can't afford it every weekend. You say Christmas time, it is a really expensive time. So obviously the wives have got them in check and told them they're not going there. They're going to spend some money on shopping.
Absolutely, I know what I'd prefer to be. Went to the Trafford Centre this week, it was hell on earth. Throwing down that left-hand side, particularly when you've got no money to spend and your wife's making you do it anyway. Throwing down the left-hand side, and it's Hill to launch it down the line, flick on. And just a bit scrappy on that far side, eventually goes out of play between 2 green shirts and out for a Preston throw. Simon Whaley and acres of space on this right side if they can switch play. It's down the left for the time being. But I was making the point before that as you say, there's a lot of right-sided bias to the Preston side, and you just think that occasionally they could exploit the understanding between Hill and Pugh, and certainly the pace of the likes of Hill to get forward, get a bit of width, and get some balls in from that left flank.
Yeah, definitely. We do laugh and joke about it. Obviously, with Christopher playing in there, he's been excellent, but he is biased right side. Ken is biased right side as well. And the two of them always look to the right. When if you watch them receive the ball, you probably won't mind me saying it because I say it to their face anyway, because I get annoyed when I don't get the ball. So I think it's with the two of them in there, it is difficult to switch the ball. Even Liam, he prefers to switch the one out to Simon than go out to Danny. That's the way he plays. I think we have that through the team, and it is frustrating. But obviously with the form Simon's been in, Graham's been in, and Christopher been in, it's not a bad thing. But as a left side, I think you're right. I think sometimes we can maybe, even if you go down right hand side, then switch it quickly down out towards the left, because there's a room then for Hilly and Danny to exploit. Even then the two strikers to get in behind, because it is tight down the right hand side. And I think it's something maybe we should look at, especially when we're having trouble breaking teams down.
Davidson championing the cause for left-footed people everywhere. It's a ball through the centre. That's won Preston a free kick to ironic cheers from the home crowd. Again, a useful position here, a bit too far to shoot. So I think it's going to be a ball into the area, or perhaps Whaley out wide, who again is in acres of space in his fantastic boots. Chipped in towards the centre. That is a difficult one for the keeper to deal with, and he hasn't. And he has come out and clattered from that far side, Liam Chilvers. He doesn't stay down easily though. He's got back up, and Preston have got a corner out of it. It looks like McCormick has actually taken a knock for his efforts. Perhaps he won't be the most confident going up for this corner now. Time to put the keeper under pressure. It's a deep one into the centre. He doesn't come. It's headed back across. Keeper comes out but doesn't make good contact with the ball. It's then knocked back into the centre and high and over the bar. But initially, I think it was St Ledger who put a good header back towards the far post. And of course, all kinds of problems for McCormick, who seemed to be a little unconfident after coming out for that challenge and taking a bit of a knock, but a useful set piece for Preston.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to take the mick out of Sedgwick tonight with that one. He hasn't scored all season. I think he's getting him to a little bit. And he had a great opportunity. He's just shanked that miles over the bar from about 12 yards out. So that'll be a nice one for me to have a wee go at him tonight.
Free kick. That is the festive spirit. Down the left-hand side, Capaldi knocks it inside. Good lad. Mission accomplished. Ball forward, Capaldi gets it into the substitute, Wasaki, down that right-hand side. And, well, just a bit of opportunity here as the ball's played inside to Ebanks-Blake. Can't get that name out. It's knocked out of play on the far side. Ebanks-Blake. And it's a throw-in, taken quickly. There's Lilian Nalis. He's not really had much of the ball. Good quality player like him. Not really being used to the full. An experienced 35-year-old central midfielder. And the move breaks down, and a free kick for Preston was the result. Nash will launch it forward. It's off the floor, so it won't go straight through to McCormick, but it'll get 3/4 of the way there. Down that left-hand side, headed away, and picked up by Pugh. Pugh with Ormerod on the overlap, but he had run too early and was clearly offside when that ball was knocked forward. But again, opening up Plymouth. It only takes, as we saw before, the second goal from Ormerod. A good ball through, and one of the strikers running the line well. And they'll have another opportunity. McCormick plays it through the centre. Headed away, not very well. But, takes it away from the Plymouth forwards, and in the end cleared away for a throw-in front of the Tom Finney stand. There is a touch of the substitute. He looks reasonably useful actually, Akos Busaki. That's the difference. He's got that, you can see from his body language that he's eager to get involved in play and make an effort, and you just sense from some of the Plymouth players that perhaps they feel the game has gone from them now. Certainly he doesn't.
No, I know he looks obviously lively. He's come on. They've probably changed their formation a little bit. They've gone to a little bit of a diamond shape in the middle of the park, and it's probably allowing him to get on the ball a little bit more. And he looks probably Plymouth's most sort of promising player to break us down.
It's also giving Nalis the chance to just sit in front of the back four and pick up the ball and play it when he can, which would have been really the logical formation from the beginning, but I think we saw the style of football that they came to play. Down the right-hand side, Whaley has it. He can't find Nugent. The ball's intercepted. Appeals for handball not given. There's Nalis again playing it from the back down the right-hand side. Great vision from Hill, but he's flown into that challenge, missed the ball. His enthusiasm to try and get hold of it has taken him through the player on the far side, I think is Bazaki, and Hill is actually down following that challenge, but it was a clattering effort from him, and he went at full whack into the midfielder.
I think he's going to get booked. Just get up, Hilly, you're going to get booked anyway. So actually I think that was a little bit unfortunate for Hilly, because he's actually slipped, I think, he's actually come in full pace there. He's actually going to clear the ball, and his foot's just given underway, and he's just sort of fallen into the player. You know, obviously it looked quite aggressive from where we were standing, but I think he's got a bit of touch and function. It's fair in the Plymouth player, he just got up and ran away as well, which is fair play to him as well, which you like to see in this day and age in football, but a little bit unfortunate.
Fourth player to go in the book this afternoon, and it's his third card of the season. Hill, ball in towards the edge of the area. There's Ebanks-Blake, but taken off his toe. I think he beat himself there. Picked up at the back on the left from Capaldi. Left midfielder come left back in the second half. Into Hasney Aljofree. Plays it along the back line, and there is Mathias Doumbe. He gets it back, and a bit of patient build-up from Plymouth, which is, excuse the surprise in my voice. Wow, that's more like it. Long ball forward towards the front two, but they've still got possession through the centre, and it's Nalis who spreads play down that right-hand side. They're certainly passing the ball round well, a bit more confidence in the Plymouth ranks. Surprising in that they're 3-0 down now, but I think it's a formation that seems to suit them more now. It's gone behind for a goal kick, and essential then that Preston don't sit back too much here and give them well, it would only be a very weak lifeline in this game, but
the right back for Plymouth is pushing on quite far and allowing Norris to tuck inside, you know, to play with Buzaki in the middle of the park, and I think it's actually working for them, you know, because they actually knocked the ball about quite well, and I think it's just obviously creating that space for Buzaki and Norris to get on the ball and start knocking the ball and start knocking it about.
So Buzaki's ball forward. Good challenge from Hill coming across. He does read the game well, Matty Hill, and he's pacey as well, so he's got the ability to get to the ball, and really sometimes he shouldn't. Capaldi with the throw towards the centre circle. Doumbe switches play down the right-hand side. Back into the centre, and there's Norris, who's come a bit more central in this diamond formation. Back to Nalis. Nalis with a chip ball towards the edge of the area. Ebanks-Blake goes up for it, doesn't get there. It's cleared away, but only as far as Doumbe. Plymouth Argyle's confidence growing still as Norris plays it into Hales. Hales tries to turn it in towards the edge of the area. Nalis has it at his feet. He switches play towards the left-hand side, and Capaldi has it running back towards the right now. He's not really going forward, and in fact loses the ball as he tries to play it through to Norris. He just looked a little bit bereft of ideas there, Capaldi. It's all the way back to Alexander under pressure. Clears it away. Norris was charging it down. Headed forward, out of play it goes for a throw-in, and I think actually it's been a much better performance from Plymouth in this second half, somewhat ironically. Substitute being made, and it's Cherno Sambut coming on that far side, and just trying to make out the play that's going off. Actually, it was it Marcel Seip. I don't know. You speak Dutch? Neither do I. That's double Dutch. There's a distinct difference. Ball played back to Luke McCormick, cleared away, and there's Ebanks-Blake who plays it forward, and Plymouth on the attack here with a long-range effort, which Nash actually had to watch very carefully as it flew past his far post. I think he did that reasonably confidently that it was going wide, but certainly had to make up a bit of ground just to make sure. Wide it went. Another goal kick is the result.
Not That's such a right back.
Today's crowd attendance
Quite
is
far forward. Obviously they've got to go for the game. They've got to go for goals. They've got to attacking formations three up front. They'll hit Norris probably pushing more in midfield, and then have three at the back.
Attendance of 13,171 this afternoon as Whaley tries to get hold of the ball. But if I was a Plymouth Argyle player, I wouldn't know whether I was coming or going. They've played about 3 different positions each today, haven't they? All towards the edge of there. I mean, I know they're undergoing a bit of an injury crisis at the moment, but it smacks of panic a little bit, doesn't it? When you've played that many different formations and players in 3 or 4 positions in a single game. That I suppose because of that injury crisis, perhaps he doesn't know the strongest formation in team.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's difficult when you have the team is injured. I think you just patch your team out to go out there and do a job, which they started to do until obviously Danny put that goal in. Fantastic strike. And then from then they have struggled a little bit. They have got a better second half. But I think we've looked quite comfortable today, and it's obviously it's a good sort of period for us. And hopefully that the manager will now bring on the subs. I know they've been a bit frustrated sitting on the bench, a lot of them. The team doesn't really change, and it'll be good to see a few of them get a game.
Ormerod with the ball on the edge of the area on that far side. He pulls it back. Hill in support. Pugh is there as well, and for once they go down the left flank. Pugh cuts inside, gets in towards the edge of the area, goes to ground somewhat easily. Appeals for a free kick, not given. But we saw there actually a rare foray down the left from Preston, which is good to see. And it's a throw in when this substitution has been made. Hill is the man who's going off. He's just forced his way back into the first team, of course, after injury. Perhaps that's at the forefront of manager Paul Simpson's mind. On comes Lewis Neal, and Pugh will probably revert to that left back position. Second substitution, Sedgwick comes off, and I suspect is it Tommy Miller coming on in the centre. Well, this will be interesting because we've not really seen much of Miller in his more familiar role of central midfield. Yeah,
definitely. Obviously difficult. I think his home debut here was I think he played left midfield, which is very difficult because the positions I've seen him play are centre midfielder, inside right. So it's a difficult time for Tommy because the team have been doing well. He obviously come to help us out. Obviously we're a small squad, and he is a quality player with a Scottish grandmother.
Thanks for pointing that out. I didn't know you were into genealogy, tracing family trees and what have you, but ball forward. Good to know that you know the pedigree of the player, though, isn't it?
Exactly. I'm just trying to copy the England cricket team. Borrow a few players off, a few South Africans and stuff,
Look what it did for them. Ball down the right-hand side, and Plymouth through the centre. Capaldi, left-footed, chips it in towards the centre. Hales is in there, he knocks it back towards the front post of Preston, and it's behind for a goal kick. Desperately trying to eat this mince pie in tiny mouths while studying my commentary. It's not working at all. There goes all our freebies for the rest of the season. Thanks a bunch. She just can't get the staff. Ball forward, flick on. And chasing after it is Nugent. There's McKenna knocking it back over the top, headed away. McKenna gets it back. Down the left we go again with Ormerod pressurising, always pressurising. That's a poor ball back, and Nugent getting in there. I think that was a result really of Ormerod's hard work. It comes back out. There's Whaley, deep ball, poor ball, too close to McCormick. And Nugent almost capitalising from, as we've seen, Ormerod, who doesn't stop running around and pestering players, even when they're 3-0 up, and that's the kind of character you can't breed in a player, isn't it?
No, definitely. We did used to have that with Richard Creswell when he was here. He was very similar sort of player to Brett. Great to have him in the team. And I think obviously it's good to have Brett back playing, and fully fit.
It's Hales in the area from Ebanks-Blake. It almost falls back to him, and Preston can bring it away down that left side. Good ball over the top for Nugent to chase after. Keep up McCormick in 2 minds whether to come out. Nugent taking a tumble, winning a throw in on the far side, and McCormick really there had to commit because or hang fire, and he did neither in the end, because if Nugent had got on the end of it, he was stranded about 20 yards away from his goal mouth. But
it was a good play with Dave Nugent. Obviously Louis didn't have much on there, and he's just put a good ball down the line, and Nugent probably ran 50-60 yards, his little scamper, and got us the throw in a good area. That's the qualities that you just got to keep doing in this game, you know, if he's going to become a top player.
Ball spread wide down the right-hand side. There's Alexander. Ball forward to Ormerod, who tried a cheeky little diagonal ball through the centre. Alexander applauding the effort and saying, oh, great vision to see the run from me. Would have been special if it had come off. Whaley into Ormerod, who gets round his man. Bit of a shove in there from Hasney Aljofree. He manages to turn the ball behind, but that was a lovely little attempted ball, wasn't it, from Ormerod to Alexander.
Fantastic ball there, obviously. He didn't even look as though he was going to play. He just tried to reverse it, just didn't catch it right. Graham was clean through.
Corner swung into the centre, headed away by Hales, of all people. And it's back from Miller, getting, I think, possibly his first touch of the ball. Through the centre it goes, and Whaley picks it up, or does he? No, he lets it go out of play. And it's Alexander the man to take. Miller helps the ball on, but Nugent can't get there. Header away, and he's there again to hook it over his shoulder this time. Looking for the knockdown from Nugent. Nalis switches play down that right-hand side. Cherno Samba holding the ball up, showing a bit of skill as he tries to knock it into space down the right. Preston pick up possession. Looking reasonably comfortable at the back as it's up towards the halfway line. Ormerod couldn't get the ball either into space for himself or over towards Nugent. Plymouth Argyle really threatening, but getting in possession in this second half. 7-8 minutes left to play. Preston leading 3-0. Pugh, Ormerod and Alexander. Capaldi. Ball taken off his toe by Whaley. Miller plays it out wide and is looking for the run forward. Alexander stopped in his tracks. Plays a good ball to McKenna, who has to try and barge Hales off the ball as he comes through. Alexander moves a bit of a foot in, but the referee says this time Wasaki went to ground easily. There's a long-range effort, left-footed from Lewis Neal. Very wide in the end, but Wasaki just going to ground easily there, and the referee, Kevin Friend, right on the spot, saw through it, said play on. Preston could have taken better advantage of that, I suspect. Surprised to see they've not made their third substitution yet, with 7 or 8 minutes left to play.
No, Danny and Kelvin will be itching to get on. Surprising why he's not put them on, you know. I think it's 7 minutes to go. But as I say, I can just see Danny taking his tracks off, so obviously I'm a good manager.
Absolutely, yeah. Waiting in the wings, aren't you? That was a bit of a shove there on, well, apparently by Liam Chilvers, but to me he was shoved in the back. I'm not sure what Mr. Friend saw there. I see something he did. Capaldi with the ball into Uzaki, who's another one who favours brightly coloured boots, down the right-hand side. And there's a good interception and a good ball over the top. It was Miller, I think, getting a foot on it, and he's it's a lovely piece of skill on that left side, but Neal can't get round his man in the end. There's a clumsy challenge from Miller. It's getting a little bit chaotic in the centre, and we're going to see that third substitution. Looks like Danny Dichio, the man to come on. And the man who's going off is Brett Ormerod, who for me has probably been man of the match this afternoon.
Yeah, he has his watch rate, you know his effort. Obviously with that goal as well, it capped it off. You know, he's a busy player this afternoon, delighted for Brett.
Well, Dichio makes his way onto the pitch. Certainly giving a bit of a cult status, Danny Dichio, amongst the Preston fans. He just ends up everywhere. He's supposed to be playing centre forward, and half the time he's heading the ball away from the goal mouth from corners and all sorts.
Second half in reserves, I can quite happily say just to stay up front.
Well, you can tell him that. I bet you did. Ball is about to be worked into the area for free kick. I think Carlo Nash is taking a bit of a knock at the back. I'm not sure where that's come from. Stretching for the ball, perhaps. Is it the base of his back that he's holding there? That's slightly concerning. I think actually it was after the ball it was a dead ball situation. It was knocked over towards the far side, and I think actually collecting the ball a bit over exuberantly. He's put himself out a bit.
No, I think he just took a shot at me.
Headed. It's a challenge, a strong challenge from McKenna, which Plymouth now pick up possession from, and it's knocked out of play by Miller. And it's Capaldi to launch the ball down the line. There's Basaki, he's done well there to get through the two defenders, plays a low, dangerous ball into the centre, and Hales falling backwards, manages to get a shot across goal, and it wasn't too far wide either, and just a glimmer of danger there for Preston. I think it's probably a little too late, but if I can confuse my sayings any further, but yes, thanks, but it did just go across the face of goal out. A minor threat for Preston to deal with, but just had a couple of chances like that in this game. One from Capaldi, one from Hales, but aside from that, nothing really to give Preston any nightmares. Ball down the line, which Dichio will run after. Capaldi defends, clears it into touch, and throw in for Preston North End down the right hand side. And we have got about 2 minutes left to play. Which it seems like it's been a long affair this afternoon. It really does. Well, you should have invested in a brightly coloured scarf, shouldn't you? It's you don't know how long this is. It's a free kick to Preston. I think that was for a handball whilst we were talking about fashion. And it's Alexander, the man to take. Plenty of white shirts on the edge of the area. Dichio's in there. He'll be the target, I suspect, rather than say Simon Whaley. I don't know why that is. Free kick on the right hand side to be swung in towards the centre. Whaley does make a run, and it's actually low in towards the middle. And arriving was Miller in the end. Ball rolled down the right hand side, and Plymouth can bring it away. Challenge from Miller. In fact, it was Nugent that was arriving for that set piece. Samba tries to control the ball on the far side. Just a little scrappy through the middle, knocked on. And Samba challenging for the ball, doesn't get there, and it's Nugent who can bring it forward with support from Dichio on the left. If Nugent can get round him, it falls to Whaley now. Whaley with a chance to go round the defender. Tries a long range effort, but rising over the crossbar. Nalis in front of him was a little stranded, but that shot was never troubling Luke McCormick. Behind it goes, and we move closer to the full-time whistle. That's just about it for play in normal time. Not seen any time added on for stoppage yet. There's the fourth official, just about to do the job. Nodded away. Nalis heads it forward. Got to keep a clean sheet here now, Preston. They don't want to just destroy Carlo Nash's beautiful clean sheet right in the last moment. Be furious. Rolls the ball down the right hand side. There's Alexander. Chips the ball towards Dichio, who does well. Nugent interacts well as well, almost finding Simon Whaley running through, who pressures the keeper. And there's the ball forward. 4 minutes of time added on for stoppages, just to add to Callum Davidson's agony this afternoon.
Obviously, just a good bad game, so to speak. You know, I think obviously good result for us, but performance hasn't been too bad. It just isn't as fluent as we're used to from Preston this season. You know, we normally knock the ball about really well and quite entertaining. Today it's been a grind. It's been a hard game for us. You know, but we've stuck at it really well, and we got 3 points.
It's offside there, but it does take two to tango, and it's. I think Plymouth's tactics in the first half had a big part to play in the flow of the game, but you can't argue with a 3-0 victory at the end of the day, and it might be 4 yet, so just bear with us. Down the right come Preston. Whaley controls just in his fantastic boots, takes a knock. That's a poor challenge from Capaldi, and I think he needs some attention there. Taken quickly, Nugent knocks the ball into the centre. It's headed away, comes back out. Miller is there. Lays it back to Alexander. Alexander probably going to go back towards him, and does. Miller back to Nugent. Nugent with Dichio, although Dichio is offside. Dichio comes back onside, but not far enough, surely. This offside flag is up, and Dichio, who took the ball on and had a little dip anyway, watches it just bounce wide, but he was a country mile offside there, Danny Dichio. Free kick to Plymouth, and well, I think that's the signal for the majority of the fans to start leaving Deepdale, but it's been a reasonable performance, a better result. Headed away, Capaldi trying to go for it, can't get to it. It's over the halfway line, and a bit of defending for Plymouth to do. As McKenna pressuring, can't get hold of the ball, and is there something left in this game yet? And towards the edge of the area, there's Ebanks-Blake, cleared away, and perhaps the final danger of the game snubbed out now. Maybe I've spoken too soon, as Plymouth get the ball into the area, pulled back. Arriving was Cheno Samba in the centre, but couldn't find him. And Preston will get it away, and Kenna's got an opportunity to find Nugent in the centre. He was miles offside, and again this delay between the actual offence and the flag going up is just infuriating from a spectator's point of view. Ball over the top, and through to Nash it goes.
They're trying to stop them raising the flag straight away, you know, because as you say, if Danny's standing offside and the ball gets played over the top, and actually Lilian giving Nugent running onto the ball, and Danny just walks back, you know, beforehand he put the flag up for Danny when offside, where I think now they're just trying to allow that sort of phase of play to develop, you know, and it is infuriating, but it is probably the right sort of call in the end.
I think also part of it is the assistant referee's got to think who's involved in play, who's not involved in play, are they going to be involved in play, what's the square root of 17? By the time they've done all the calculations, then the flag goes up.
Again, it's a lot easier from where sitting at the top of the stand, you know, to see everything. You know, it probably maybe easier linesmen stand up here and have a look, because you can actually see what's going on. A lot easier, and it's easy for us to make the call from up here, whereas down there you're sort of eye level with them, and it's difficult to see who's actually involved in playing, who's not.
It's always easier from where I'm sitting.
I tell you.
Go in, take him. Foot in, out of play on the far side, and this game is petering out to a 3-0 victory. And there is the final whistle from Kevin Friend. Well, it's been a good result, not a particularly startling performance, and well, that's not Preston's fault entirely. I think they've done enough to convincingly beat Plymouth Argyle. A fantastic effort from Pugh started it on 11 minutes from distance. Then we saw Ormerod making it 2-0 just before half-time with a good run, beating the offside trap and slotting the ball into the bottom corner for his second goal in 2 games. Then it was Alexander from the penalty spot on 55 minutes to wrap things up. That after some great work from Paul McKenna through the centre to win the penalty in the first place. Callum Davidson, your final thoughts on the game this afternoon?
Yeah, I think I'm delighted. The manager, the players probably delighted with the 3 points today. Again, you weren't played that well, but who cares really? In the end, it's 3 points on our march towards Premier League. So I think the manager will be happy. You know, see that game, move on to the next one. It's going to be a tough game against Colchester at home. So let's hope we can get 3 points there as well.
Thanks very much for joining us today, and Merry Christmas if I don't see you beforehand. I'm going to tuck into my mince pie. Finished here, Preston 3, Plymouth Argyle 0.